So for our first trick, let's review and approve the minutes from last time.
I'd give this a big fat check mark.
Does that
Approve.
Is that a motion?
Is that
A motion?
I thought that was a
That was a motion to
It was a
approve.
motion.
I'll second.
Big fat check.
All right, all in favor? All right, amazing, look at us. Okay. Boop, boop, ba-doo. So I'll do the ADU +1 update. As we know, we got our second round, 1.5 million. So that's total 3.5 million. So exciting. So the applications are gonna reopen in June is what we're thinking from the CDCLI. So we had talked about, so I just want to acknowledge that we had talked about doing a public information session,
Yeah.
but we decided to not do that because it wasn't giving us, we wanted to do it closer to when the applications are actually going to be opening.
So in June is what you're saying?
Yeah, I'm thinking towards the beginning of June, I'm gonna have a
Yeah.
call with,
Makes sense.
Peter and I have a call with CDCL, the three of us have a call with CDCLI Tuesday, just to kind of talk through who's on the list. I'm also getting, I can only kind of get like brief sketches of just like who's on the interest list, who's like on the
Okay.
waiting list. So we're gonna go through, just so I kind of have a sense of exactly how many people we have in the pipeline.
Great.
Just so we kind of have a sense of what we're getting into. And I think the other thing, just to be real, is like how many applications they can really handle at a time.
Exactly, because you said we were overwhelming them.
Yeah, we kind of, they didn't
I mean-
expect so many from us. I think that they're ready this time. Well, no, I mean, because we went the fastest
Yeah.
Yeah.
of any of the municipalities out here, so they just weren't, now they're prepared, they understand what they're gonna see from us, but I think that they needed to like make sure that they had and also, I think as like our contact Casey there has said, this is like the first time this program has ever been rolled out. So like they had to like roll it out and then like do it at scale
Yeah.
really quickly. So they're feeling a lot better about this second round of doing it, but they want to make sure that they're just like staffed up and have the bandwidth to do it. So because I had kind of, I'd push them a little bit. I'd be like, can't we open it earlier? Can't we open it earlier? And they're like, do you want it to go well? And I was like, yes,
Okay.
yes, I do want it to go well. Like, so fair enough, fair enough. So I was thinking the next time we meet, we could set up information sessions for June.
Okay.
And I just also thought, because we have the ADU sessions coming up too, so I just maybe give that a beat. I mean, so we have the,
Design.
see,
Design.
even
Too much tax.
too much taxes. So just to give it like, do the design stuff,
Yeah.
kind of get that to a point and then do the ADU
Yeah, no
sessions.
reason not to just do the session once the applications are open.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Just wanted to make sure that
Down with that.
There's no
Theme.
rush.
Great.
Down with that. Down with that.
Okay, so we'll, in June, and I'm just gonna make a note, we'll schedule at our May meeting. Do you want to give our,
Do you have any update on the ones that are in process? Are we getting closer to more of them being?
I can tell you
I know there's one
there's
being,
one being worked on that's up, being framed right now.
right,
Yeah.
yeah. But besides that one, I haven't heard
I'm
anything
gonna get
else.
an update on Tuesday.
Okay,
So I don't have an update since then.
I knew one was in good progress. I didn't
Yeah,
know
we have
it-
a couple, I think 2 or 3 that are like ready to go. So there's
Exciting.
like 6 that are, anyway, I'll have the numbers for you next time. So we basically, believe we have 6 that are all the way through, and then just like maybe they're waiting on their contractors and signing. If you've ever done
Right.
build anything, it just like takes a moment, even when you have all the boxes checked. So I would say 6 with like all the boxes checked. So could start, I guess, anytime, depending on when they sign things.
Are there any approvals anywhere that are holding things up?
There are some things that are in play. So again, I will get an update on that one on Tuesday. So usually what happens is, Peter.
Building plans, you know, that.
Yeah. So Peter's usually been really like helpful
Yeah.
with that, because basically what happens is we get the, you know, like the list, we kind of have an internal list, and we're just like, okay, this one, what status is everybody at?
Mhm.
And then if we find out that there's kind of something getting held up, especially because we did have somebody here on island, but then they had some family stuff come up. So we don't have an expediter here on the island. So basically myself and Peter have been kind of acting as the
Yeah.
expediters. So we kind of like figure out what's going on and then make calls or get them connected with the right people. So they have a builder who's been working with them for their Southampton grant
Mhm.
that they're doing. So he's been kind of building it, just because he's like, he like comes up and pulls the plans and does the whatever. So we've just been like contacting with him. Like I've met him out here to pull stuff. So I don't know of any blockages, but that's why we meet every 2 weeks, is just to find out if there's anything jamming us up. Cool. Do you want to give the
Sure.
RFP update? Okay,
We've gotten a draft.
yeah.
Pretty
We do have a
amazing.
draft. Want to reiterate that this is going to be an iterative process in terms of reviewing it. Liz is, I don't know when, but she already did a quick read through and has a few notes. Everyone has it. Please read through it. If you have any comments, suggestions, questions, make sure you email Liz and I, but I would suggest email everyone, because I think
Sure.
it does,
Yeah.
keep the brain flowing for
Yeah.
everybody in this regard. I would hope that we could gather enough comments, questions, suggestions, so that we can get something back to Miriam the beginning of May, I would
That sounds
say,
great.
because
That's
you're
fair.
away and all. So that there's a chance we could have the next edition by the May 9th meeting. But if hopefully that's probably a bit of a reach, but let's see what we can do that way. Because I'm sure we're all gonna have different insights and different questions on this, but the good thing is, it's moving.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Bill, would you be okay with like being the person to kind of collate all the comments?
Sure.
Okay,
I kind of thought that I was gonna do that.
okay, great. Perfect. I was kind
Other
of.
than you do that enough, so.
Awesome. Yeah, so anyway, I thought
I can't believe we're here. It's fantastic.
it's really exciting. Yeah, so.
Really
but-
exciting.
Yeah, and she's great. And so my thought, I thought would we probably do a couple, maybe, I don't know what you think, like a round or 2 of iterations. And then maybe once we feel like pretty comfortable with the document, then we'd have her come and join us so that, once we feel like we're educated, we're asking. She's not inexpensive hourly. So I just want to make sure we're like,
Sure.
Yes.
really
We
know
don't
what
wanna
we're
waste-
saying,
As much as we can, narrow our stuff,
Yeah,
and from our prior conversations, I expect, a few questions, hey, how do we handle this types of thing?
yeah.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
What's the RFP for?
Oh,
Or what's the?
yeah, great. Sorry. We're so like,
We're so into our
we're
own.
so into this stew.
What's it for?
Yeah, absolutely.
Rick-
So it's the RFP is for, we are putting together 10 rentals. Yeah, so that's so it's a request for proposal. It's
At
on
3 different sites.
3 different sites. Yeah, so 6 one-bedrooms over South Ferry behind by the Historical Society, by the old highway barn, like in the back. And then 2 bedrooms on the North Ferry site for like families, and then, or larger households, and then another 2 bedrooms at the Manwaring site.
That's in addition to the ADUs that you guys are.
Yeah, so the ADUs are all
Separate.
Yeah, those are
Private.
These
Those
will
are
be,
Yeah.
these will be, have to meet the affordable standards. The
Yeah.
ADUs don't all have to meet that.
yeah.
They just have to be
Year-round.
year-round.
Mhm. Yeah,
Congratulations.
yeah.
Well,
Thank
It's
you.
a start.
it's a start.
Yeah.
Quite there, but congratulations yet.
And actually, I'm gonna go a little bit out of order because I just feel like it actually makes sense. I'm gonna just talk a little bit about the RFP finance
Great.
update. So I had a call with Stephanie Rosen from the county about I think we talked about that we needed this $2 million or 200,000 per unit to make the math work. So I circled back with her just to be like, basically like, we're still good, right? Like, I'm doing the RFP, like, we still got it lined up, like, how do we do it? So she said, yes, we're absolutely, they're really excited about it. And then because of the way it's structured, she actually gave me some language that we
Okay.
could include in the RFP to because we can't promise it, but basically we can put language in the RFP that says funding, is available through the county, interested applicants, can be connected, blah, blah, blah. So she gave me like
Mhm.
the language. So basically what'll happen is I'll send that language to our lawyer and then she'll put it in, and then I'll send it back to their lawyers to make sure that like, that's okay.
Yeah.
So is that something that would be like, like a contingency, or the people that submit proposals would be able to sort of say, it's contingent upon this, and then it's out of our hands? Or do they apply directly to the county for that, or?
So they would apply directly to the county for that.
Okay.
And usually in these, I forget which section it is, you have to kind of outline your funding sources.
Yeah.
So that they could give that as one of their funding
Okay.
sources. And so that's what I basically was talking with Stephanie about, is like,
Yeah.
how would that relationship work? How could we let potential bidders know that that's out there
Right.
potentially?
And they should apply for
And
it.
they can and should.
And as
So-
Mark says, when they submit their response to the RFP, they should, from their perspective, in order, so we don't just have things started and fall apart, they should be saying that their bid is contingent upon receiving this funding
Yeah.
source.
Unless they think.
Other-
they
if-
can
'cause-
without it.
Yeah, because,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean.
because we
that's-
don't want somebody going and doing it without the funding source and not having the funds to complete.
Right.
Yeah, but I mean, that would
That's
also be.
That's
also
our
the-
downside.
Well, we would do diligence to make sure
Yeah.
that that would be part of
Yeah.
our process, is like
Yeah.
making sure they had it lined up.
Sounds good.
Yeah, so that's cool. Additionally, I feel like maybe I'm a nervous Nelly about things. I think I'm like professionally cautious. So I'm always like, okay, well, what is like the plan B and the plan C and the plan after that? So, I think we talked a little bit at the last meeting here at the end about some like potential alternate private financing
Right.
that David brought up. I don't know if that'll work out in time for this project,
Okay.
but it does look like it's in play. It'll be a more complicated structure, but I've had some calls with CDC LI, and they're finance people to talk about how you would structure that. So it's kind of like still in play because we'd have to like, it'd be a new program.
Mhm.
But I'll be back to you more hopefully once David and their finance people and I can kind of put it together. So we have that. And there was also additionally, the executive director mentioned that there might be another grant that we could potentially piggyback on for them for additional funding. So
From
again,
Suffolk County.
through
no,
New York
CDCLI.
State, yeah.
Okay.
So, you know, again, I always like to have a plan on a plan on a plan, with
Right.
like a backup in the back. Because I feel like the money on this is the hardest part.
Mm-hmm.
So, and what's the worst case? They all come through and you got too much money for the
Yes.
project? Like, cool. Like, I'm sure we could do something else. Like, I've never,
Like build some more, somewhere
yeah,
else.
I was like, I've never seen that happen. So anyway, I'm like, just so you guys know,
Yeah. no,
feeling
it's-
pretty confident about the Suffolk, but also working up some alternative backup financing just in case.
Good.
And also the worst case is, you know, it would be also, it would be exploring it for future,
Exactly.
Future
Our
projects.
our next
So-
phase, yeah.
Yeah.
because this is,
Great.
building isn't cheap. So more on that, honestly, probably not till like our next meeting.
Okay.
Here's, okay, so I give the zone, I'll give the zoning.
Yeah, what's that zoning stuff?
So, we have our zoning lawyer. It's like, I love a lawyer. I love a lawyer. So we finally got our zoning lawyer sorted out. So we have them, it turns out that he wasn't engaged. So we're.
How he's formally engaged.
Yes, it's going to be signed, the retainer has been paid and the engagement will be signed on Monday. So I reached out to him and then he called me directly and sent me over like the preliminary list of materials that he needs to start putting together basically our ZBA application. So we can't really talk until it gets signed.
Okay.
But because I am gonna be out of town for a while, he was like, well, I can send you a preliminary list of what you need so you can be ready. And it could just be in my email. And I was like, perfect, let's do that.
Mhm.
So that's what we did. So that is like coming together. I think the other thing that I guess I would say is, I don't know who potentially might have some bandwidth to meet with me. Actually, how about you? What are you doing? Do you want to be
When is that?
do you want to be the liaison with the zoning for the ZBA with me?
Sure.
Okay, cool. Cool. I was like, these guys are busy with design.
Yeah, no, I know.
I'm tied up with the RFP.
I can help on
You
this.
can
one,
help?
too. Not before, but yeah, I'm sure by the time you're away, I can
Yeah.
help too.
Okay, cool.
Until then, not too much time on
Okay,
bandwidth.
yeah,
You
no,
know why.
no, that's fine. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, cool. So that's not even gonna be like in play for another couple of weeks, but it would be great to
Yeah.
have somebody else
Yeah.
like helping drive that.
But when Liz is away, we can,
Yeah.
Yeah, sounds good.
Cool. And then I'm just gonna give a quick fun day update because Fran and Maria really have the most exciting things to talk about.
Money's exciting too, though.
Yeah, I was
I mean,
gonna say, I
exciting.
don't know about that. You're talking money.
Yeah. So I do have the March statement for the housing fund. And we brought in just shy of 25,000.
Mm-hmm.
So that with interest brings our balance as of the end of March to 348,
Wow.
7, oh my gosh, I can't even read it.
48,700.
Yeah, so 721, couldn't read it.
Oh,
Yeah, 721.
that's amazing.
So just shy of 350.
Wow.
That's really
It
good.
just keeps ticking up.
Yeah. That's it.
Okay.
Now,
That's been less than a year.
yeah.
How do you bring in $25,000? Where does that come from?
Oh, it's
Our transfer tax.
the transfer tax.
Is it a month?
Yeah.
The houses
Yeah.
are selling.
0.5%.
0.5.
It's 0.5%, over 2 million. I mean, 350,000.
That's a quarter of what
Will this
the
anything?
green 2% fund brings in.
Yeah. So, I mean, it'll take us a while to get together,
That's great.
yeah, some money to actually do something, but in a couple of years, we might have enough to do a project.
Pays for.
It pays the admin stuff.
Pays for the lawyers
Yeah.
to do all this, so,
Yeah,
No money, no mission.
right.
yeah.
Design update?
Design update.
Design update, pictures,
Pictures.
pictures.
Can you pull up just the social post first? There's like an ad, yeah, that one. But just,
Yeah.
so we throw this up. This was the ad or social post we're gonna put out
Yeah.
about our info session.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Peter had a question about the plan, and it's because that's a single family one, you know, it's all the same stuff that's in our PDF, which we'll go over. So
Cool.
there's any other questions about, you know, whatever, concerns about language or stuff, we can work that out on email, but just so we have that, we should probably get that out next week.
I know, that's what I was saying. I was just looking at,
Yeah.
I'll talk to Christina.
Yeah, well, I mean, we have it, just if there's any other revisions, I can do them tomorrow or Monday.
No,
and
that
then-
looks great.
I think what it says is exactly what it needs to
Yeah,
say.
I'm just
Yeah.
to the point. Okay, so now can you bring up the PDF?
Thanks for putting together all the ads and,
Yeah. This is our design update for the Route 114 community housing projects.
Yes.
Can you go to the next page? So these are two examples, and you can go forward. These are the same, these two nice kind of pocket neighborhood communities. The next page is, I split this up a little bit differently this time. So this is the site at South Ferry, and
Great.
edited the site plan draft that Michael Shatkin had worked on. Just so it has, this one, you know, this option has 3 buildings.
Mhm.
So that's a, you know, kind of a potential draft look at, you know, how it could be laid out. He's got a community garden in there, a big green space. Obviously, there are plantings all around. You'd leave the wetlands open and the parking in front for the Historical Society and Farmers Market that happens there. And on the left-hand side, we have our site plan configurations. This is the important thing to think about. We have 2 different options. We've kind of narrowed it down to. Option 1 is to do 3 duplex buildings. So it would be 3 buildings, each would have a unit on the top and a unit on the bottom. There would be 1-bedroom units. Or option 2 would be to kind of lessen our footprint a little bit. Try to do a 4-plex with 4 1-bedroom units and a duplex with 2 1-bedroom units. We're limited, this is kind of stuff that came in
Recently.
late, yeah,
Yeah.
we talked about it last meeting and we adjusted a few things. That the bedroom square footage here is really limited because of the septic, you know, the public, Suffolk County,
like our flow rates or whatever.
So it's based on the size of the bedroom?
Yeah.
yeah, I had a long
Number
talk
of them.
with Matt Sherman and I still don't completely understand it, although he was very helpful.
Yeah.
Like, we're limited to like 900 gallons.
Right, but I thought that was
And so
based on the number.
the bedrooms
Yeah.
have, or the units have to be 600 square feet or under.
The whole entire unit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
To
pretty
get
shocking.
You have to be small.
To get to the count of the buildings we want. I mean, there's some like trade-offs. but
Yeah.
This is the best way we can work it out. So that kind of, we have to revise a little bit the way we laid out the duplexes.
Mhm.
And even the 4-plex here, as shown, would have to be revised by an architect a little bit to get to the right square footage.
But we can show you how it's
it'll all work out.
Yeah,
Like an architect, the builder, they can figure this out. It's not hard, it's just, the hard thing, I mean, I can explain this in detail. But it's hard to find duplex and fourplexes that have one bedroom units, first of all, which is what we're aiming
Yeah.
for here. And we're aiming for like a very small square footage. Most of these things are like bigger commercial developments, condos, townhome things. And they'll have 2 or 3 bedrooms. Because why not build it if you have the space and infrastructure?
Right,
We don't have the infrastructure, so we can't build that big.
yeah,
And I was talking to an architect friend of mine, he was explaining that once you get over two units in a house, which is normal, kind of like residential, and the whole building code goes to kind of commercial code.
right.
It's a whole different
yeah,
beast,
that's.
which is one of the reasons I think it's hard to find kind of off-the-shelf plans.
Mhm.
Yeah,
What we're-
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, we have 2 options. Can you skip to the next slide? Option 1 is the duplex, 3 duplexes, 2 one-bedroom units. So this is the side hustle house that we looked at before. It's a really flexible design. There's a lot of ways to expand this, but this is really just the base unit. And there'd be a stairs from the outside going in to the upstairs apartment. The way they have it laid out, we'd have to alter a little bit just to get we're basically mirroring the top unit onto the bottom so that their kitchen, bedroom, bath is all on one floor. There's no additions, so we can get to the,
Stay with our,
Square
stay in our, keeping our square footage.
like, I
It's
think,
cute though.
yeah,
Yeah,
this is like
cute.
under 1,000 square feet, or about a little over 1,000 square feet total. So each unit would be a little bit under 600 and would work.
I like the other ones, but I gotta say, this is probably my favorite one. I feel like this is the
Yeah.
most
Yeah.
shelter islandy looking with the porch and, Yeah.
It's a tiny house. It's like 18 by 32.
yeah.
So I think these would fit on the property really well. You'd have 3 of them, they'd be kind of scattered. There'd be, they'd have room for a side yard and
Mhm.
the porch, obviously. It's nice. So yeah, both of these options are for Southbury. So the next slide is our other option, which would be using something like this as a 4-plex designed by Opticos Design. This whole set of plans that they did is it's called the missing middle plans, designed for, kind of the missing middle income bracket of people, kind of what we're trying to address here. So there's a whole set of plans they have. This fits in our thing. It's 4 one-bedroom units with stairs going up to the top ones. And I think, they could, these designers, the architecture firm can customize this plan so it fits, and, we could obviously change the sort of the way it looks on a facade. And
Yeah, it looks like brick. We
Yeah, it
just want
does.
like shingles and shutters or
Yeah.
something, but you know,
But if it were cedar shingles, it would look right on.
Maybe it's
Yeah.
red clapboard or something, I don't know.
yeah, yeah. But it could look like kind of like
Yeah.
colonial
Yeah.
something.
It's a little bit bigger of a building.
Yeah, it is.
Scale, but I actually saw one right on Daring Harbor that looks very familiar to this, like blue house right on the
Well,
wall.
it's like very like salt boxy
Mhm.
kind of
Yeah.
looking, you know, like reminiscent.
Okay, so then on the next slide would be our duplex to add to this. So we get 4 bedrooms in that and we get 2 bedrooms in this. This is another, tiny little house. Just kind of split down the middle. You'd have 2 600-foot units on either side.
I mean, I guess you could do 3 of those, but they're just kind of like wider.
They're wider. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So I think there's a trade-off.
Right.
We could,
And the concrete, remember, that was a big issue.
Which is cheaper to build.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Well, the
Yeah.
other thing is that this one, people are right next door to each other.
Yeah.
There's just a wall separating
Mhm.
you from your neighbor. It's a little close. It's a little different when you have your own floor and,
But you don't hear people stomping around above you.
Right.
well, you put some rugs down, I guess.
Yeah.
This is tight.
Yeah, I mean, the only
This
other thing
feels
I would
tight.
say is that because they're both on the ground floor, they'd both be accessible.
Yeah.
units.
Yes, the other one would
So it
not
would-
be in the same way.
Yeah, but I mean, I really think it could go either way. I think either of them could be.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of plans we eliminated already.
There's a lot we didn't
Yeah.
like.
There are a lot of options out there. The hard thing we were finding was just something small enough for this site,
Yeah,
but this will work.
And again, this is for our public presentation and for our RFP. And indeed, if an architect comes to us or a developer and says, we know how to make this look, conform to what you need and make it look like it comes from Shelter Island, then
yeah.
right on, that's what we're
Yeah,
interested in.
and you'll see in the RFP that there is gonna be by nature, like some customization. And I
Yeah.
think with the finishes and stuff like that, just making them look cohesive and
Right.
and fitting in with the neighborhood. So maybe not like I mean, it's all cosmetic, but yeah,
It's important.
it is important.
Okay, so the next slide is the other two sites, 69 North Ferry, in between Marcello and sort of the IGA. We'd have two units on that and 2 bedrooms. Again, these site plans were Michael Shatkin's work. They're just drafts, but there's sort of an idea of 2 buildings on either site. 16 Van Waren Road is across from Sylvester Manor, in between Christian Johnson and Binder's old A-frame place. Each of those are about an acre, and there'd be two bedrooms on each. So what we're recommending for that is on the next slide, would be the side hustle house.
Yeah.
And this would be done as a single family unit. So it's the same building, it would be the same plans. Structurally, I guess, the top floor layout is a little bit different. Because on the bottom floor, you'd have a living room, dining room, kitchen, half bath, and then stairs upstairs would go to a full bath and 2 bedrooms.
Cute.
So, this gives us space for, families to live in. You'd have two of these on either property.
I like also that the footprint of the home is small, especially because those lots are small. just to
narrow.
Yeah.
Make
Yeah.
sure that there gives them enough green space.
Green space and
buffer.
Actually, if you
between.
go back to the,
Is the path gonna keep
Yes.
stay in
Yeah.
place? Oh, cool.
the path on, actually, it's not indicated on Manwaring Road, but it should. And he put one on 69 North Ferry because we were talking about going from the nursery to St. Joe's.
Yeah.
I think that's an important part of each of those properties is to connect.
Wait, nursery to Sachem's,
It's, there's that trail,
because by cards,
by
yeah.
the Islander.
And on the other side of the island, it'll be.
You can have one here because it's town land.
Yeah, 'cause it goes-
But the other isn't?
No, it is,
Oh.
But we're just saying,
Another part of
keep
the,
that.
Well, because it would go, am I correct in saying that this is, I think you actually even have it marked, like this is the
Yeah,
trail
that's a
right
trail,
here.
yeah.
That would be
I think we just
added.
don't-
But
I just don't
but that
think we-
doesn't exist, right? Okay.
No,
all
we
right.
would
Yeah.
create it, yeah, but it would
It's
be
like
on
I've been all
the,
through there and I don't remember a trail.
yeah, no, but it would be on the other side
Yeah.
of like the drive, so giving
Yeah,
them a
sure,
little
it'd be
privacy, but
awesome.
still,
Yeah.
like
On-
public use.
On
Yeah.
this one,
Yeah,
currently, the trail is like right along this.
right, so we might,
So we could figure, this is all just a sketch and we could figure that out with the builder,
yeah,
but it'd be good to keep that.
Cool.
And just go back, sorry, so this is the same. I mean, I think from my perspective, if we just do the side hustle house everywhere,
Mhm.
it's gonna be a lot easier for the builder.
yeah.
It's gonna look
I-
cohesive.
I think it'd be cool. It's got this, I don't know, it's a nice language that you
That's how
have
they've done
everywhere,
it,
you know?
that's how they did it in Martha's Vineyard, is
They-
once they
yeah.
established the design, they used it basically everywhere,
Yeah.
and it looks
Yeah.
great.
And you could do different kinds of, you know, cosmetic stuff on the outside. but
Yeah.
each would be
Is it a
slightly-
problem that some of these, if they were single units, you know, two singles, that some of them aren't accessible? Do they have to be because they're
So.
in this world,
So
or?
some of the units do need to be accessible. My
Yeah.
thought would be, especially for this round that we're doing, we
Yeah.
would need to make sure that the bottom units
Yeah,
on the South Ferry site were accessible.
but they don't all have to be
No,
just
no, they
because
don't
they're in
all,
this.
no, they don't
program.
all have
No.
to be, but some of them do need to
Yeah.
be. But I think that we'll be able to easily clear that
Yeah.
bar. We'll have more accessible units than we'll need, but
Yeah,
like the bottom ones, for the South Ferry site, we'll have 3 that would be
easy.
easy, yeah. So, this looks great.
Yeah,
This looks
this
great.
is- yeah,
This is basically what is going to, we're gonna show people.
yeah.
We wanted to add kind of a narrative to it, it's similar to what Michael had worked on about giving context to housing and affordable housing and the environment and what we're interested in. And then there were other things we wanted to include in our
Right.
presentation.
Can I ask a quick question?
Yeah,
So I wanted to just kind of check in on like kind of the format that we were thinking, because I know we talked about like both like an open house, like we did with the housing plan where people just
Mhm.
drop by. But like how it's also, what I hear is like also a presentation, which sounds cool, but like, how do you imagine, how do you guys imagine?
well, we could do it a couple of ways. If we did it as a kind of a drop-in, then we would be here to talk about things with people as
Yeah.
they looked at stuff. The other way we could do it is we could have easels and, you know, computer screens that show all this stuff. And then a slide would change and it would give you some information that you could read. But I think it's best to have us on hand to be able to answer questions.
yeah.
And I mean, I like the idea of the open house, you
Uh-huh.
know, but I do think there should be time for us to be able to, people will have questions.
Mhm.
And that's part of what we were just about to say, that is, can be determined once you
Yeah,
hear
yeah.
the other stuff we want to talk
Yeah,
about.
yeah.
Do you want to go through it,
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Fran? Because
Cool.
there's other stuff we have to do.
Okay.
Right, so in meeting about this, we also realized, you know, doing that public meeting in a couple of weeks, we have to kind of have we'll have all this, so we just showed you guys, we have our options of design, we have the site plan drafts, so people can get an idea. The other thing we think we should include is like any preliminary like rental information, rates,
Mhm.
or fair market rents that people are gonna be asking.
We actually
Yeah.
have
I know
some of
that'll
it
be a
in the,
question.
we actually have some of that information in this article, so
Okay,
it'll go.
because that's one of the things we
And then-
figured people are going to ask us right
Yeah,
away.
absolutely.
What, like, looking even farther forward,
Uh-huh.
people are gonna ask this, what is the application process, what's the eligibility?
So yeah, so that'll be, so basically this is like,
We
there'll
just need
be,
like a fact.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
can
Need
just
a
like make a
little-
slide that says. you know,
totally,
three
so I think
things.
it'll be like a parallel track, so Bill, maybe that'll be some of the details that we want to tease out and finalize first. Out of this RFP is the, what did you say, like the
Rental,
application
yeah, application,
process,
Application.
eligibility,
And eligibility.
eligibility, yeah.
and then
So we'll just start
sort
with
of a
those two
yeah.
things, making sure that those are,
rough rental information, you know,
Like
how much is, yeah, rate.
oh yeah. The rates are actually the easiest thing, because those are set.
Right.
I was like, that's actually the easiest one to answer.
We can just.
Because we
put the
just like,
table up.
it's just
Yeah.
like a thing that we have to do, so that's fine.
Okay, good.
Okay, cool, so we can work on making sure to get that. But we'll, like I said, we'll just tease those, we'll make sure that we tease those details out first.
Okay, great.
And then the question is venue. Do we know where
Central-
we're
the
gonna
firehouse.
do?
The Central
Firehouse.
Firehouse.
Okay, great. So we should definitely have stuff like poster board, I think.
Yeah, but we're gonna do it on the
Fifth.
5th, we're doing it at the firehouse.
Right.
And then the 25th, we're doing it, which is Memorial Day weekend, the Saturday.
Mhm.
I got confused about dates one time, but Saturday.
Okay,
And it is gonna be at the library tent. And so what we're hoping is like maybe this May 5th one, maybe so make sure that all of our locals can be here. And then sometimes maybe, and then the Memorial Day weekend, hopefully our part-time residents, and there'll just be anybody who's
people.
seasonal residents, hopefully there'll be more people out to be able to see it, but just have like those two, and also like have some variety for like an evening and then a
do they
weekend.
have monitors or anything at the firehouse? No,
Yeah. Like,
okay,
yeah, they have firemen.
okay,
That's what they have at the firehouse. They have a pool table.
okay.
They did ask me if we were gonna, I was like, we will not be
We
using the pool
won't be
table.
using the
Thank
pool
you
table,
so
I do
much.
not think.
Yeah.
Okay,
And the other, yeah, and the, David, my husband, and one of the other firefighters will be on hand to work the elevator so it can be accessible.
okay, I've never been inside, so I
Oh.
don't even know what it's.
Plotter,
Exciting. Well,
a plotter, like large format printer.
it'll be fun. You'll get to see it.
I know, excited.
Yeah.
No,
So-
I think go to Staples or something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Also, what about that great printer that Kelsey always uses? She always recommends
Oh,
that
yeah.
person. They might be
And
able
cell
to
phone.
print it, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we will definitely
Yeah,
be
let's-
getting,
Let's sort
Figure
that out
stuff.
and
Okay.
then maybe just think about, my guess is we would just do them on big poster board. Like if
Yeah.
you could figure out what you
the phone
needed
core or,
and then send it to me, maybe we could work it out with the printer. Okay.
great.
Cuckoo.
That format we used for the referendum last year
Yeah.
was great. I mean,
Yeah.
just having 5 or 6 things like that,
yeah,
I think that that would be great. Yeah.
more
And
than
then-
enough.
And I think we actually have, Catherine, Jessica, do you guys know if they have easels from the comprehensive plan that we might be able to use?
But we can confirm.
Okay, cool. That would be awesome. Just because like, I don't know.
Can we also have that available to people on Bran, what you, right there?
This-
Eagle over there as part of our plan.
Bring the
Um,
eagle.
Yes.
I feel like it's
But
inspiring.
everyone will be able to take one of those home if they want.
Yeah, and I think what the presentation would be is like, I'll just format this so it can go on. number of-
Exactly.
Cool.
Poster board,
Yeah,
easels.
Right. Jessica, I feel like we have like a,
and we just
Like
need to
a
add our 2
office
things
thing.
about application process.
And rental rates.
yeah.
okay, so we'll put together the present, so maybe we'll work on giving you that bit as soon as we
Okay.
can. We'll get our lawyer to clear it. And then it feels like we're pretty close on the presentation.
Yeah,
And so we'll just circulate it for any last notes. And then if you could reformat it for like a printout, and then we'll make sure it's printed up by May
Yeah.
5th. I feel like that's
yeah,
Yeah,
that's what we need.
doable.
Yeah,
yeah, I mean, you're right, we have like 3 weeks.
We have 3 weeks. And then the only other thing that I guess I would just say is that we will have the public information session before we have our next meeting.
right.
So we'll just need to make sure that we're working
We're coordinated.
asynchronously.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So all, cool.
Okay,
All right, just want to
yeah.
acknowledge that. Cool.
Our next meeting is 9th, May 9th.
I want to follow up on something Mark said,
Yeah,
because it would be great if all of them were the same house.
Mm-hmm.
mhm.
But there is the question of people living above.
Yeah.
And I think one of the things maybe to try to do is to put in the RFP that if we go with that design, that they should do, that the builders would have to do something that would be sound reduction.
Right. so-
Yeah.
Not just a carpet.
Yeah,
No, but actual.
And that's,
Yeah.
so that we could say, yeah, I don't know all the details, but I know they can do some of that.
Yeah.
And so that would go into the RFP itself, and it might be good to have that knowledge when the people come in, because to me, that's gonna be the first thing I would ask.
yeah,
If I would, the person who may be on the bottom, oh my God, I'm gonna have somebody who's an elephant stomping above me.
yeah.
So that we're going, so that we can say we're gonna have something in the RFP
That's.
to
required.
minimize.
Yeah.
You're not gonna eliminate,
No,
Yeah.
you can- but
Minimize, yeah.
minimize.
I found the place in the RFP to add it.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a whole list of sort of.
Right, yeah, no,
Yeah. And
Um,
there's probably a spec out there for that kind of thing, right?
yeah.
Grade A, grade B, grade C, sound damping, whatever it is.
The unit,
Somebody who's in building
the
supply.
unit
Oh,
is
oh.
designed.
Yeah,
I don't know, I don't want to interrupt.
no, come on, yeah.
I was thinking about that issue of sound.
You know more than we do.
So usually, I prefer to have not design spell out what the design looks like. It's really what they call a criteria spec. Okay, which
Okay.
means, okay, let's assume you're dealing with a party wall, you're gonna be calling for a 2-hour fire rating. You're not concerned about really the makeup of it, as long as it's a certified 2-hour wall.
Yeah,
And the same thing works with sound, okay, you call for an STC rating, okay, of 98, and in that way, the builder has to include it in the design work, that assembly and the roof and the ceiling
Mhm.
will give you that classification, okay? I mean, there are lots of ways to do it, but that's a very good thing to do, Bill. You know? I had that note to myself here, as far as sound is concerned.
Yeah,
The other thing I wanted to ask, okay, is, you know, people have stuff,
yeah.
okay? I don't know, is it too early to ask that question?
No, it's a great question, and,
Talking about basements.
yeah, I was gonna go there. So one of our friend of the board, Chris Fokine, who comes in and helps just make sure that we're not doing anything wild, because none of us are builders, kind of. One of his suggestions was to basically put in basements in all of these to help store the stuff.
I've seen other units where you put standalone storage. That sort of is aesthetic, it fits in, and it's not as expensive doing a standalone storage facility, okay? And it can be,
Right.
you know, and I just think you gotta take that into consideration, you gotta.
Definitely.
How many cars did you figure per unit?
It says we
The park.
estimated two, 1.5.
Oh, 1.5
per.
for the
so
one
3
bedroom.
per 2
Yeah,
Yeah,
unit,
I
yeah.
think we have space for some overflow.
as long as it doesn't end up looking like a parking lot, you know?
That is a
That's-
concern, yeah.
Yeah,
That's our biggest concern is it doesn't look like some of the suburban houses that are just car focused, you know?
Yeah.
But there's ways around it. There's way to make it
It is,
not seem like
Yeah.
that.
The developer that would bid on this project, how long is the lease period that you're talking about?
we're working that out right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of like so basically there'll probably be an initial lease period, and then we're working out the language of when you're gonna have like a look back period to be able to just like, do they want to get out of it? Do we want to buy them out? So that's what we're working with our RFP lawyer, is like those specifics. And like what's protective for the town, what's, you know, the kind of that middle space between like what's protects our interest in like, you know, letting them have use of this land, but also makes sense financially for a developer. So what's that kind of that middle road?
When you have small buildings, the biggest concern is people moving in and out.
Mhm.
And it's something to think about, you know, we normally a drywall, okay? There are other materials that are high density that can take the impact of, because you're in small spaces, even just moving a vacuum cleaner around can put holes in walls, okay?
Yeah.
It's, you know, I'm just throwing something.
Yeah, no, and you know, David's been really helpful, and like a lot of the things we've tried to looking at are like basically build to rent. So making sure that like the stairways are a little bit wider, you know, like just those kinds of things, having the meters on the outside because it's gonna be like not on the inside, so you don't disturb your rent, just those kinds of things. And so that's been one of our focuses of just trying to look at designs that are set up to be rentals, right? So, thank you.
raise the storage thing before. Does you have something else you want to say, Ben?
Oh, me? Oh,
Yeah.
well, actually, just
You
going
would
back
raise,
to,
you would raise the storage issue also.
yeah, well, going back to the info session on May 5th,
Yeah,
getting the word out,
yeah,
not that this is a political thing, but, and I am no longer decision maker at A Better Island for All, but I did have a hand in building the mailing list and it's quite extensive.
mhm.
And you might ask someone sitting in the audience now at some point if they'll help you get the word out.
Yeah, no, I think we'll.
I'm sure when the town makes it available, they can share it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like, we'll put it out officially.
we'll put it out
All of
officially
our
and then,
friends
and
can
then
share it.
ask
Yeah.
friends,
Shelter Island local.
Spread it
Shelter
around.
Good.
Right.
Yeah,
And all of the social media places.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Ben. That's a good idea.
Mhm. But
Uh,
not me.
That looks great. Thank you guys so much. It's looking really good.
Oh,
I'm
okay,
getting
good.
really excited.
Yeah.
Okay. Do we have anything else? Can I move on to old business? We're doing good. We're keeping, I really
Yeah.
love our time.
Yeah,
I
definitely.
think we're good with that.
Okay. So the only thing I have for old business is I just wanted to point out, or I just wanted to bring up, I think I had mentioned at the last meeting, that just kind of looking ahead, because you know I'm a planner and you know that I'm a prepper, is that thinking about with all of these ADU units, like looking to launch in the next like year or two, plus God help us,
Break
maybe
ground on
maybe this. So it's just like, well, what does that mean for our housing needs for the next housing plan? And then like, what's actually gonna be needed? So we're two years into our housing plan now? Is that right? Is that a fib?
I was just trying to think about that too. And I mean, the town adopted the housing plan.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Last year
last year.
or
The year before. Anyway, we're a little bit into the housing plan. So what I was thinking was we have to redo our community housing plan every 5 years.
Right,
So it might take us that long to get all of this stuff done.
right.
But by the time that we reach that next juncture, hopefully, if we've made some progress, I think it'll be really important to figure out what the needs are in the community to go forward and like what we should be focused on next. So one of the things I was thinking about was doing hiring a
Needs
professional,
assessment,
doing
right?
needs assessment.
Yes, definitely.
So, so I am gonna be meeting with, I found a grant that will cover it.
Okay,
So I'm gonna start meeting with our grant writer in May to, because you know how things work. It's like you gotta meet with them, you gotta put it together, and then it's gotta go in this cycle, and then you gotta do the thing, and then maybe you get it, and then it's gonna take another year to do the housing assessment. So I was like, oh, if we need it done in 3 years, I better start now
Yeah.
lining up the cash.
it's true, it's true.
So anyway,
Okay,
I'm gonna be working this
down with that.
summer on the grant to get the thing.
to get the thing.
To get the, so that by the time we get to doing our next housing plan, we have the information in hand of just like, hey, what's working and what does this community
It's great.
need?
Good idea, Liz.
Thanks.
Good idea. Old business, good business.
Yeah. Any new business, you guys?
Oh, I have no new business.
You have no new business? Okay. Cool. Does anybody,
Anything from the audience?
Great job.
Oh,
Looks like you're gonna get it.
I mean,
Yeah.
thanks.
And you probably can't wait, but it looks like that, you know, things take a long time to get them done, but at least it looks like you're really working hard in the right direction to get it done. And I think that whole thing of optics and are important as you present,
yes,
as you present it, okay? There's gonna be some things you don't have answers for, but I think the whole thing with the ADUs is that certainly that's a given, that's gonna happen okay, immediately. And I think these other units, okay, are pretty important, okay? And if I could help in any way I'm trying to do something for you right now, but the other part is with the planning and plans, I'd be glad to give an opinion in terms of what you're looking at, because, there's two ways of doing things today. We live in a throwaway society where we build stuff and it doesn't last very long, or you put a little extra care into it and it costs you less. I believe quality costs less. That's an old philosophy. Americans usually, we live in a throwaway society, so if we spend a little bit more, okay.
Agree.
I think, and even the aesthetics, what's the aesthetics worth, okay? It means a lot. I almost made a mistake. I realize this is the public forum so people can hear me, but I'd rather not get into it, but there are things that, people will feel good if they live in a good place.
Yeah, we've taken all that into consideration.
As employees, okay?
Yeah,
Where if you have good colors and you have, if the place is clean and it's met this way, that's how you keep it up that way.
correct,
Okay?
definitely.
I think that's really important. So,
That's definitely our standard. We have worked from that standard from the beginning.
right.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Good job, but keep going at it, okay? It's funny that they were just talking about artificial intelligence with the architectural community. I don't know whether anybody's following this, but they're coming to a point now where the AI are looking to eliminate the architectural industry. But they'll never eliminate it, but the point is there are a lot of good tools which you're working on. And just don't be bashful, and it looks like you're not bashful to ask for help.
Thank you.
It's really, I think it's great that you have, you've got your own attorneys looking at it, and you're reaching out to people. We got wonderful people here on this island, so I think we just have to make sure everybody gets engaged, but it's happening. I
Yeah.
think it's happening. Thank you.
Thank you, Gordon. Yeah.
One last question,
Yeah, Ben.
don't mind. I was just wondering, I made the connection between the Green Options Committee
Yeah.
and this committee, and I just want to know if there was a conversation yet, or.
Yeah, I reached out to Tim and he emailed me back. I think they're thinking about a grant a federal grant they were talking about. So,
And they actually asked me for some materials for it, so I got a request. I don't know exactly where they are with it, but
yeah,
they were like requesting like, well, where are the
Right.
schematics and the blah, blah, blahs? And I was like, well, this seems good. Like, what do you need them for? Like, go for it. So,
yeah, so.
No, I
Yeah.
just, that's great that there's a conversation that's been started. Excellent.
yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to let them know what we were up to and if they had any advice for us, really just put their heads to it as well.
Great.
Julie has her.
Oh, Julie, I'm sorry. I don't wear my glasses. Is that
think
Julie
you're
with her hands
muted,
up? Oh,
Julie.
no, it's not. It's,
Cursor.
just kidding. Just
Oh,
kidding,
right.
Julie. It's cursor. We're
It
not
looked like
trying
a
to trick you.
Is that what I heard?
It was a little hand.
It was a little hand. Okay, well, at least I'm not totally going blind.
Maybe Pam.
All
So are
right.
you looking for a motion?
I
looking for a
was looking around for a motion. Is it over here?
It's here.
Oh,
Move
yes.
to adjourn in that case.
Second
All right, all in
All right.
favor.
favor.
Good night, you guys.
Yay.